Good day everyone. I am Rachel B. Lanorias, and today I will discuss the chapter 2 entitled The Theory of Organization in Business and Industry. Our principle is a fundamental assertion of truth that serves as the model of behavior. The fundamental assertion relates to a number of the phenomena under examination and denotes the outcome that can be anticipated when the principle is put into practice. So, by using management principles, a manager can avoid making crucial errors in his job and was justifiable confidence and can predict properly the outcome of many of his efforts. So, although fundamental principles are not infallible, they do not imply that identical outcomes will occur in every set of circumstances that seem to be comparable, nor are there laws. Principles of management are adaptable in that they should take into account unique, particular and changing circumstances. So, while understanding a principle is useful, applying it well is just as crucial. For instance, human beings with all of their intentions, feeling, thought, and relationship play a crucial role in management. Even though our understanding of human behavior is growing, people cannot yet be categorized. A person may be thought of as typically belonging to a particular type, although he or she will almost certainly change throughout time. It should be noted that management principles make a significant contribution to the development of nucleus around which greater understanding, successful application, and future progress of management can be built. So, management, due to its dynamic nature and particularly its creative aspect, today is the attributes for the term organization. So, the word organization has been used to transmit a variety of meanings by various authors. So, a certain author, for instance, defines organization in the broad sense of a collection of persons working together for a common purpose. So, in the same way that the word organization may be defined to mean either a group of individuals and factors in the relationship or to the process itself. The term management can also assume varying shades of meaning. So, in the light of the foregoing considerations ascribed to the word management, the following definition may be arrived at. So, first is management is the art and science of organizing, preparing, and directing human efforts applied to control the forces and to utilize the materials of nature for the benefits of man. So second is management is the development of people and not the direction of things. Third one is management is the scientific utilization of man, money, and materials to accomplish a desired purpose. Last is management is simply stated the defined as the getting of things done through the effort of other people. So for that, organization, for instance, is considered as the relationship of the structural elements in business, including the individuals, to carry on the work to accomplish the desired purpose. And management as the planning, directing, controlling, and coordinating of those elements. So there are 5 M's, namely men, materials, machines, method, and last is the money. So when we think of organization, therefore, we should have a clear mental picture of whether we are referring to the process or to the relationship. So next is we will tackle the basic consideration in organization. So there isn't a single strategy that can be used effectively in every circumstances. So first is there should be a clear and complete statement of the objectives. So when we say that all activities instead of business are infused with the aim, both the quantity and the intensity of this action are influenced by it. So, without proper information about the enterprise's goal, evaluating an organization's effectiveness is very challenging. So, objectives must be clearly defined in order to be met. They must then be balanced. So, a good organization can only exist when its goal is profit to stockholders, employee salaries, and working conditions, customer service, and community relations are so carefully balanced that the company succeed. So, second is there should be a thorough analysis of the entire procession surrounding the business. So, here, once the goal or purpose has been defined, all relevant data about the company needs to be gathered. So, then all potential national courses should be examined. So, the outcome of this study will provide a reasonable estimation of the odds of success in the long run as well as the scope of the issues at hand. So it also acts as a foundation for the company's future operation. So this methodical approach to planning can be used anywhere. So it is an upgrade over the outdated method of basing a choice or action on past experiences or what another business person did in a comparable circumstances. So the third one is the necessary function should be determined. So here is when creating an organization, the organizer must decide which tasks are regarded as the most crucial and will demand the greatest care. So, similar to how the complementary functions should be logically grouped. So, each group of complementary function should be placed under the relevant department. And any firm, no matter how big or little, needs to organize its activities. So, organizers should choose with groups handle the enterprise's key tasks, such as manufacturing or marketing. In additionally, he selects and assembles the function created the support or facilitate the performance of the primary function, like transportation, legal labors, warehousing, research, and office services are a few of these facilitating activities. So the fourth one is the man best fitted for the work and to head each department of division should be selected. So, when we selected, the selection of the department head should take into account how well they will collaborate with other heads of department or divisions to achieve the overall goals of the organization or establishment. In addition to their skills in carrying out or supervising the duties of their particular department. So the man is chosen should be given enough power to run their own division or department without interference, and they should be severely held accountable for the outcomes. So each of the men must be fully aware of this responsibility and possess a strong desire to collaborate effectively to achieve a common goal. So the next is we tackle the underlying principle of organization. The foregoing consideration as considered on the basis of underlying principles. In as much as each business has conditions peculiar to itself, a set of rules cannot of course to be lied that would be applicable to the organization of all enterprise. However, certain underlying principle can be given among there are. So the first one is principle of objective. So a precise and thorough statement of the goal is a requirement being started any business operation or doing any action by the concern as a whole or by any of its unit. So the creation of plans and the concentration of efforts rely on the clear grasp of the enterprise's goal. So, the accomplishment of the main goal must be supported by other efforts, if any. So the next one is the principle of analysis. So when we say that, breaking down a whole into its institute part to determine its nature, attributes, and importance in the act of analysis. So the complete issue should be examined in order to identify or categorize and give relative weight to each of the accompanying elements. The third principle is the principle of simplicity. So when we say simplicity, it is best to eliminate any activities that are not absolutely necessary and do not pay into pesos and centavos, and to manage the ones that are still in place in the simplest way possible. So it is thought to be desirable to utilize the most basic structure possible to get the desired result. So the next one is the principle of punctualization. So in here, the organization should be designed around the core operations of the firm, not the people within it. So a function is an accepted or typically method of carrying out a task that stand out noticeable on its own. So manufacturing is not a consequence of sales. Comparing typing and filling is not the same as accounting. So the primary tasks performed by the firm are determined by its kind. So the right foundation of an organization to be built upon its nature. Although people are constrained, functions can expand internally. Though, in other hand, if the structure of an organization is based on its function, it would be simple to distribute labor properly. So, preventing any one guy from being so strong and trustworthy that he become a irresponsible. So, here is the applying the principle of functionalism rather. So the first one is, the first thing is that it has to be done is to outline each function or activity needed to run the business and to separate it from the others. The second is, phase entails combining similar and complementary function into a few key categories. So, all required contribution related operation in large organization should be grouped together under one primary heading. So, the notion of functionalization is used differently depending on the size of the company concerned, though the three main business operation at the small industrial firm that is just getting started are generally sales, manufacturing, and finance. So the structure of the company will be based on its function. So the fifth principle is the principle of departmentalization or departmentation. So in large organization, the range of operation can be very extensive, making departmentation necessary to ensure a more efficient flow of operation. The organization's project, function, products, location, customers, and processes can all be used as tool department. So, when proximity to local circumstances offer benefits like a reduction in operation cost, departmentation by territory or local is used. Then the sixth one is the principle of centralization of authority and responsibility. So, in this principle, centralized executive control is necessary. In the military and occasionally in government, this is referred to as command authority. This is not meant that the executive should try to do everything himself. He should delegate some power and responsibility to his subordinates. And the last principle is the principle of limited span of executive control is the factor that restricts the number of organizational units and the way in which they are arranged in the organizational structure. So, the number of subordinates and executive can effectively supervise is referred to as their span of control. So, due to the time and human resource constraints, organization units are used. So, short span of control are rather typically in executive organization. So next is we will tackle the application of principles. So the use of principles by any particular establishment is a matter of adaptation. It must be flexible to withstand and continually changing condition in business. In other words, any firm must be well managed and planned in order to prepare. So it must be carried out effectively or humanly, economically, and for the benefit of the general population. So the next is the limiting factors in applying principle. The business is constrained by certain constraints. The successful businesswoman adapts the fundamental underlying concept to the circumstances in a specific concern. So, basic principle may be fully utilized to benefits in certain businesses, while not in others due to the existing limiting constraints that prevent a full application of the aforementioned principles. Next is the need for sound organization methods. In the early stage of the history of business, there was no true organizational structure for company concern. Many companies just evolved with the times, with the organization being based on the staff that was available and no specific design in mind. Such kinds of business is marked by the absence of coordination of activities. Thus, the following situations mainly come about. So the first is the sales of department almost invariably considers its function to consist of solely of selling, with no responsibility for cooperating with the manufacturing department. So the next one is the manufacturing department, therefore, cannot plan its work according to any schedule of sales expectations. So, and is forced to operate unevenly and inefficiently, resulting in high cost, frequent labor turnover, and excess manufacturing expenses. So, next is likewise the finance department is concerned solely with in own interest, and this absence of coordination may be carried on throughout the entire organization. Next is each department operates almost as the separate and distinct unit, ignoring other departments as if they are competition rather than co-workers for a common purpose. So what is organizational chart? So when we say organizational chart, our diagram forms representing the important aspect of an organization, including major function and the corresponding relationship, the channel of supervision, and the relative authority of each employee in charge of their respective functions. So, organizational chart serve as useful tool in helping visualize an organization in its entire when it can prove quite burdensome when expressed in either spoken or written description. So, chart usually reflect only the key division and formal lines of authority to avoid clutter, which can greatly reduce the chart's usefulness. So next is the organizational manual. By offering more information on the specifics shown in the organizational chart, an organizational manual serves as the supplement to the organizational chart. Manuals provide information on essential issues pertaining to each position as well as the clear expression of the roles, responsibilities, and relation of each organizational unit. This will help people better grasp the duties, restrictions, and requirements for each position. So next, we will tackle how to diagnose organization. So there are at least four linking strands which the diagnostician needs to isolate before he recommend any sensible scheme for improving any company's performance in human or material term. So there must be at least four strands. The first is history. So it comes in the question, how and why did the organizational take its present form? Or who sell the objective and how have they changed and the problems? How do its member perceive the environment, its opportunity? Second one is resources. Coming from the question, what resources are used, whether as a capital or materials? So what is the output and what contribution does the organization make to the transformation of resources? Or what attitudes are held toward those resources? The third one is knowledge. So, what special knowledge does the organization possess or make use of? What is its technology and how is it applied to achieve results? So, what are the factors in achieving results and what special qualities in people are relevant? So, the last one is relationship. In relationship, there's a question, how is power, not merely authority, exercised and by whom? What special interests do individuals or group within the organization pursue? And lastly is how the relationship of authority, of organization, of negotiative are handled both inside the organization and with the outside world. And that would be all my report. Thank you and God bless us all.